Okay, so good morning. This is Birmingham Wheelchair Basketball. Again, we're doing an interview for a motivation and inspiration project that we've done since the start of lockdown. Today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Luiz Faye, wheelchair adaptive boxer, coaching mentor. Pleasure to meet you. We've also got Owen Lamprey, our lead practitioner for Clifton Primary School, based in South Birmingham. Louise, pleasure to meet you. I come across what you do, and I was actually I've never seen anything like it in my life. I mean, for a wheelchair user to be in the ring boxing, it's immense, and it's you're pushing boundaries all the time and your own limits. I mean, how did it all start?
As simple as this. I was literally in the gym as a wheelchair user, mobilising crutches, having a conversation with my personal trainer, and there was a boxing bag in the corner, punch bag. And I just said, oh, I wish I'd have had the opportunity to box as a standing boxer before life sort of changed. And he just said, why don't you do it in your chair? And literally, the rest is history.
I mean, it's totally amazing. I mean, I've had a look at and done some research, and we've been talking over the last couple of days, and and I saw the interview you did with Rhian Dixon, who's a professional boxer from VIP Boxing, and I mean, you've got a massive contingent, haven't you, of people now actually doing online at home doing boxing, and a lot of them have disabilities or have issues or have conditions that are struggling in lockdown at the moment, but you are pushing boundaries. I mean, what inspires you to do that?
It came as a result of lockdown. So as you know, this sport is very much in its infancy. So literally a year ago last week, we were out in Mexico at the World Boxing Council convention. And that's where we launched the sport. And at that time, like I say, very much in its infancy, we were just working on a one-to-one basis with a couple of adaptive boxers. And then lockdown happened. And then all of a sudden, aside from my adaptive boxing, I could see that our boxers had nowhere to go, nowhere to train. So we started putting a few online classes on together. And that had the adaptive boxers and the standing boxers working together in those classes. But literally within a few weeks, it started to spread, and people are going, hang on a minute, I'm sat at home, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, I want to stay fit. And that inspired me then to really sort of push on and make it what it is today. So it's been an amazing journey this past 7 months.
I mean, going back to when it all first started, you, and obviously, I looked at your bio, and I mean, talking about your condition, I mean, what changed for you when you found adaptive boxing?
Everything changed. I'd always been sporty. I'd always felt strong, independent, very capable. I worked in the police service for 10 years. And so when the surgery failed and the degenerative condition sort of started to take hold, I felt lost. I didn't feel independent. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel like I could defend myself, which also is a big part of a policing side of things. So when I found adaptive boxing, like I say, it changed everything. It empowered me. It gave me confidence. It made me feel stronger and fitter now, actually, than I ever was previous to using crutches and things. I fell in love with it, and I could see how functional the exercises were to enable a better quality of life. But it wasn't just about being in the ring and sparring or going and doing your bag rounds. It was how it was making me feel in the lead up to going to training, after training, and then the community that came with it.
Fantastic. I mean, thinking, when you first got into the ring, was there a bit of apprehension, or could you feel the butterflies and that adrenaline going, or it was just something like, I'm going to do this?
100%, a bit of everything. And the thing is, because very few people had heard of it, strangely, I kind of went into it with no pressure, because there wasn't a kind of bar to myself against or anything like that. And I almost didn't think many people would notice. So it was as a result of the response that we got the first time that then the butterflies came, the adrenaline came, and that was what made me want to get back in the ring again. So yeah, going into the ring the first kind of time, I didn't really appreciate the gravity that was going to come with it.
That's fantastic. I'm going to hand over to Owen. So I'm going to be quiet for a bit. So Owen, if you've got any questions for Louise, please carry on.
Yeah, hi Louise, pleasure to speak to you. My question is about both adaptive boxing and women's boxing. So for someone who hasn't followed boxing all their life, but has actually become quite interested in it in the last sort of 15 years, really, how far do you think women's boxing and now adaptive boxing has come? And where does it need to go in order for it to be truly alongside mainstream male boxing in the future?
I think, so for me, I've only been sort of interested in boxing the last 3 or 4 years, so I'm really, really new to it. So I suppose I didn't experience a lot of the kind of resistance almost that female boxers have had prior to that. But obviously I've had the opportunity to experience that myself and speak to other female boxers. And I think what it needs to be is not calling somebody an adaptive boxer, not calling somebody a female boxer. You are a boxer. You are an athlete in your own right. And there shouldn't be an attachment onto that to almost kind of separate it from male boxing. So yeah, I just think a wider understanding and let us do what we can do. And I think there's been some amazing examples of that, certainly over lockdown. Some of the best fights that have been on over Fight Camp and things like that have been the women. They've brought it and they're showing the true athleticism that's been there all the time, but we're getting that opportunity now for our voices to be heard and the talents to be seen on TV. And I think the same thing needs to now happen with adaptive sports and adaptive boxing. And hopefully that's what we can try and achieve moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, sort of 15, 20 years ago, nobody could mention a female boxer at all. So now, you know, Katie Taylor, Nicola Adams just trip off the tongue, which is fantastic. You've mentioned your coach or one of the coaches in the gym inspired you to get involved. Was there anyone else that inspired you to really take up adaptive boxing in a big sense, and who continues to inspire you within the boxing world now?
Clarissa Shields was somebody who really, really inspired me prior to, you know, as I was coming into sort of boxing. Her whole mindset, her outlook on her sport, it's her life, every fibre of her being. But from an adaptive perspective, actually, it probably would have been Scott Welsh, who is former Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the chairman of WBC Cares UK. And I say that because he maybe was the first kind of person to approach this from two angles, one as a boxer and one from an able-bodied person that really wanted to start to understand disability. And albeit that's something Scott had never sort of found himself in that sort of area previously, he had a passion for it and there was a heart there. And so from that, he could inspire me, not only from what he'd achieved, but what I could see he wanted to achieve. And then, yeah, so it would have been Scott.
Oh, fantastic. I come from an educational background. So if you were to give any advice to teachers or young people in school in how to get involved in parasport, but then specifically adaptive boxing as well, what advice would you give?
Ask the questions, contact us, you know, get into the online community. Online communities have grown hugely in this past 6 months. And a big thing for me as a relatively newly person with a disability is people don't like to ask questions. So I think that's the big thing. So if you're sat planning your curriculum, you know, your stuff ready for the kids coming back to school, and you've got these questions and you're thinking about projects, we want to answer them. We're not offended. We want you to be interested and we want you to understand our side of lives, and we want to understand yours, and we want to work together. So yeah, just talk. I think that's the biggest thing. Okay,
Monday morning we'll be in touch.
I'm looking forward to it.
That'd be good. And finally, just a little one from me, just in terms of boxing, or you can move it on to sport in general. just your favourite sports person or boxer of all time?
Oh my gosh, that is a difficult one.
You can have two if you want.
Oh my God, that is so difficult. Possibly Leila Ali, as a female boxer. I think she took on the pressure, the big shoes, the glass ceilings, everything that you sort of mentioned earlier. And without the social media, without the backing of different boxing promoters trying to force women's boxing onto the TV and stuff like that. So I would say, yeah, Leila.
Fantastic. I'll hand back to Andy. Pleasure to speak to you. Thank you.
Andy, thank you.
Thanks, Owen. So I'm thinking, obviously, we're in the pandemic, and we're going back into what looks possibly to be a national lockdown next week. I mean, you've done so much in the community. I mean, WBC Cares UK, they're doing so much fantastic work. Big champions supporting little champions. I mean, what is the future for you regarding your online activities and pushing ahead forwardly?
So, prior to being involved in boxing, I had a smaller aromatherapy business. So I work around mental health, work in mental health hospitals and with young people with emotional health challenges. So what I've sort of been able to create with the support of WBC Cares is this, like you just said, this online community of adaptive boxers. But not only that, now we can bring together an adaptive lifestyle. So now we're looking at nutrition, we're looking at aromatherapy, we're looking at lifestyle hacks, adaptive hacks that you and I might have these little tricks and tips up our sleeve that nobody else has. We're learning so much as well. We're doing case studies, and it's bringing all of that together and really, like I said at the beginning, trying to improve the quality of life. I don't like to think that anybody suffers with a disability or suffers with mental health. It's about managing it. And I always talk about, for me, I have a chronic pain toolkit, and I use different techniques to manage my life. And that's what we want to be able to do for other people. So with the work with the WBC Cares, with the Chronic Warriors, and the wider community, I hope that's what we can bring to more people.
Fantastic. I mean, as I say, we started 3 years ago, and we continue to build on our community. And and during this lockdown period, we talk about reconnecting, and I think a lot of the emphasis for us is when we've done these interviews and talked to so many different people. For everybody, it's about reconnecting with everybody over this online situation, because it's virtually, by having that access to see people and talk with them, it gives them something to aim for in the future. I mean, thinking about obviously what you do and your online sessions, and talking about people being in isolated and struggling anxiety. I mean, what to you would be your message to key workers who are on the front line, people at home? What would you say to them to motivate them and say, keep that inspiration going?
What you're doing is an amazing job. Without you guys literally sacrificing probably every hour God sends, time with your families. I know that many care home staff are staying residential in the care homes, they're away from families. And that, that's not just the care homes, that's not the hospitals, the police, everybody is under so much pressure, and we really do thank you. And if you know a key worker or somebody who's going above and beyond, just give them that text or that call and say, how are you? 3 words means so much. That person might not even have time to text you back and say, I'm okay, I'm not okay, but they'll see that, and they'll see that call, and it'll just give them that little bit of a push just to keep going. And I hope that that's what we can do as well. So yeah, huge thank you.
Amazing. I mean, if I think about, obviously, I work in a specialist college over in Birmingham, in Harborne, and we work with over 300 complex disability students, and and you talk about inclusion, diversity, and young people with anxiety, and but thinking about the importance of inclusion and diversity, I mean, what would you say I mean, you know, I know boxing's been used as a tool in many schools to support, you know, that motivation, that encouragement, that discipline. I mean, is that something you think that is now looking with regards to adaptive boxing, that's pushing that into that realm, you know, supporting people more?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Fantastic. Before we go, Louise, I always finish with a quote. And obviously, you know, we talk about boxers, and, you know, one of my favourites was Muhammad Ali, and, you know, and some of the quotes he came out with. If you could think of a quote to support motivation and inspiration, what would that quote be and why?
I would say it would be my mantra, and that is embrace life challenges one punch at a time.
Fantastic. I know you've got a message for us before you go, because we did talk about it yesterday. So we're all obviously supporting the superhero series, and we're all taking part in that at-home Winter Wonder Wheels for Sophie Warner, GB Paralympian. And, you know, and I've talked to Sophie on a regular occasion to support what we're doing. And I have been trying to get as many video messages as possible. So can I hand over to you, Louise, with your video message?
Well, I just want to wish everybody all the best in however they're going to take part in the superhero series. Specifically, Liberty Staffordshire, who does amazing work with SEN students. I'm really, really excited to see what you guys are going to come up with. I'm looking forward to seeing the outfits. And yeah, huge, give it your all. Also to Clifton Primary School, I think they're going to be joining as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do. And if you need anything from us, please let us know. Tag us, we'll share everything, and we'll really, really make this superhero series best.
Louise Faye, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I know I've said I'll do some of your boxing online sessions, so I can't. If I do it, Owen's got to do it as well. You know, so I look forward to it. You know, I will let me know when your next session is, and I'll try and get on to have a go at that. You know, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and carry on with the adaptive boxing. I mean, going forward, do you think there'll be? I mean, are you actually competing in the ring now, or is that something for the future?
So yes, the long-term plan is to get into Invictus Games and the Paralympics, 100%. But it's not just about the competitive side. Like I've said, it's about the functional day-to-day side. So what we're hoping to have is having sort of the community-based classes where we're teaching those functional exercises that you can use to help you in day-to-day life, whether that be managing mental health, whether that be managing physical health, and also then have the opportunity to go on to compete. And we'll have showcase bouts as well. So at the moment, I'm lucky enough to do the showcase bouts. So we've done some, like the first one we did was at the England v Scotland International for England Boxing last November. And Steve Bunce was there to report on it. Craig Stephen was the ring announcer. Wayne Elcock was one of the corner men. When we do showcases, they're real great events. And that's the opportunity that we can give to people moving forward. Just really quickly, before we started with the adaptive boxing, WBC Cares UK also have Boxing with Determination and blind boxing, and I don't know if you're aware of this. But the Boxing with Determination is a programme that's been running for a couple of years down south for people with SEN needs. We put an amazing showcase on in December with Frank Bruno, and we were able to display some of that as well. So this is not just about wheelchair. This is why it's adaptive. We can adapt this sport to anybody. And one other thing I just really want to say is our sessions are free. Our online sessions are free. So please contact us. This isn't going to cost you anything. We can get this out to you and you can enjoy this. So please don't be afraid.
Fantastic, Louise. I mean, you know, as I said before, I think, you know, moving forward, I think it's that reconnecting, and, you know, a lot of our members and our participants, it's how do they become active? And, you know, and I think for us moving forward, you know, we want our participants to be involved in something like you're doing, but why can't we join up together and do that together? You know, it's something for the future, and we've been going on for so long now that we need to reconnect and support each other, going forward. You know, we will get through this together. As I say, it's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to actually getting in the ring with you one day. You could be very kind to me, please.
I'll play nice. I'll play nice.
But,
Pleasure. So hopefully,
I look forward to doing the showcase with you. So, you know, take care. Stay safe, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.